of yoga. I'm delighted that you are here. And from wherever in the world it is that you're joining us, I'm very, very pleased to welcome you. We have been working together with the Indian High Commission and the Indian Council of Cultural Relations. And together we are presenting this webinar. It is a delight to be with you. Today's topic for me is integrative and holistic yoga. For some of you that I'm unfamiliar with, here's a little bit about me. I have been teaching for the last more than 20 years around the world. I've lived in India, trained in India, taught around in the US, Japan, Australia, Singapore, and I travel before COVID, of course, all around. So I'm the director of Pragya Yoga and Wellness, and I'm joining you today from Singapore. Today, we look at and focus on holistic well-being. We look at the entire gamut of the practice of well-being. So how do we define well-being? What do we know as well-being? So the key aspects are not just your physical asana practice, but other components as well. So how do you integrate it? Today's is going to be an interactive session, so I really do hope that you can use the chat box or the Q&A to ask questions or comment or keep the vibe going. Today, we look at what are these elements, and from an Ayurveda and yoga perspective, how best can we enhance our immunity, boost our immune systems, and so on. So it's going to be like a lecture demonstration format, and I do hope that you can join in. So if you're looking for a paper and a pen to make notes, please feel free to go and get one. This will have lots of tips and things that you can take away. So let's just look at this orange, which is vitamin C, and definitely a good space to start looking at immunity boosting. So our bodies are not just the physical, but also social, emotional, spiritual, occupational, intellectual, creative, and so on. So how we choose to look through, how we choose to view this place from a holistic point will help us to improve the quality and the ability for us to remain engaged in what we are doing in a positive, joyful manner. Okay, an integrative approach is what we are looking toward. An integrative approach includes a whole gamut of practices. So as you know, yoga is not merely asana practice. So while yes, the asanas are best known, and we do go and practice with asanas around the world, yoga is sort of equated with asana, but it's 1/8 of the equation, and the rest of the components are equally important. These include breathing techniques to uplift the body or feel very sort of energized, or energy patterns which calm and relax the mind in times of stress, in times of difficulty and chaos. In an inflamed world, yoga brings happiness, healing, peace, and joy. It brings a harmony and a sense of ease. So this is achieved through other tools in the repertoire, which are deep relaxation practices that allow the parasympathetic nervous system that restores and rejuvenates well-being to sort of then begin to fire up. When you are very relaxed, these are the mechanisms that help heal, that promote a sense of well-being. So, and apart from that, it is also a lot to do with healthy lifestyles. So when we are mindful of what we eat, and today's session will focus a lot on this as well, how is it that, what is it that we consume? And by consuming, I don't mean just food. I mean what we take in through social media, through news, through other sights and sounds around us, what we surround ourselves with. So this sense of well-being is is not just what you consume physically, but otherwise as well. And we look at the 5 sheets or layers of the body, which are enormously important from a yoga, Ayurveda, and an integrative health perspective. And of course, the connection. Yoga itself means yuja yujyati, to bind, to join. And it is to enhance to our own highest potential, to become the individual soul, to join with the cosmic highest divine space. So this is at a personal level, at a family level, at a team level if you're working in a company, or at a larger level if you're heading a corporation, then your company and how you choose to send out the message of that connection. Building immunity for community through integrative practices is a lot what this practice is going to be today. So the integrative practice, then, it has not a skewed approach, then it has a holistic approach to well-being, which promotes sharper focus and concentration. It increases positivity and clarity. It improves strength, balance, and flexibility. And again, I don't mean this only physically. I mean this more from a space of balance in the mind, in the emotions, particularly given this chaotic situation that we are all in. It really demands and brings that all the tools that we have at our disposal, that those tools we harness and we use them. So we no longer feel lonely, we don't feel isolated, we feel a sense of using adversity as an opportunity and thinking, just from an ABC point of view, that awareness, A, breathing, B, and C, compassion. These are the overriding factors that will help you to become stronger and mentally more resilient, that regardless of what appears around you, in the space around you, you will find that you have a lot of kindness towards yourself, and you turn inward with a sense of kindness and care. So let's look at the model on which the blueprint of yoga and Ayurveda are based. So in this session, we are going to look at how to enhance these through practices and through techniques that will improve our well-being. So the 5 layers or sheets, if you like, these are the ones that create. So first is the very basic: input is equal to output. So what you consume physically, what your cells, your DNA, your muscles and bones, your physical body organ system, so on. That is the Annamaya Kosha, or the physical body. Then comes the prana, the breath body or vital energy. This is the aura or the chakras or the subtle channels of energy that's run through. Then comes the mind or the emotional aspects of it. How do you feel? How do you react to certain things? Are you a person that breaks down easily? Are you a person that is able to process chaos? Instead of fear, can you think of peace? Instead of panicking, can you think of kindness to yourself? So these kind of areas is what the mind space or Manomaya Kosha is all about. And then we look at Vijnanamaya Kosha, the wisdom element. So how do we discern the ability? It's a Sunday in Asia, at least. And for those of you who are joining in, you could have slept through, you could have been chatting on the internet. You've chosen to be here. And you've chosen to be here. So there is a certain process involved in making that decision. This calls for discernment of a certain sense of saying, this is going to be beneficial for me, and therefore I have this. And finally, the Anandamaya Kosha, which is the bliss body, which is what optimal health or optimal well-being could be. And then we let's look at the Ayurvedic principles of healthy lifestyle. Ayurveda is the science of life. This is from India. It's an ancient science of creating holistic methods of creating balance, When we are in balance, we are happy, we are healthy, we are functioning optimally. When we are in imbalance, then it creates disease or a sense of not feeling good. So there are two words here. These words are in Sanskrit, dinacharya and ritucharya. So dinacharya means daily routine. What do you do on a daily basis? Because the traits that we practice are the states that we become. We become those things that we constantly do. And here I'd like to share some of my fun routines. And here's a pop sort of quiz coming up. There'll be prizes for the people who guess right. So go ahead and tell me what this is. Okay, so just write down in your chat box if you can see what this is, and go ahead and type it out in the chat box. Okay, and then pop quiz number 2 coming up. Identify this and write it in the chat box. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. So those of you who've got it will get a prize. And we are looking at an immune booster recipe that I will be sharing later on, which is a really, really fun recipe. But creating routines that, so in the morning when you wake up, try and say, if you can gargle with hot or warm water with a little bit of turmeric or haldi and a little bit of salt in it, warm water, just gargle and spit it out. Use a tongue cleaner to scrape out the tongue. So you're able to scrape your tongue and remove anything that is, sort of on it, the cells on the tongue. So you clean it through with a tongue scraper. Oftentimes we use a copper one, but it's not necessary. You could use just about any. And then try and take, this is also guidelines from Ayush Ministry, the Ministry of Ayurveda, Yoga, etc. What you can do here is take a little bit of oil. So it could be coconut oil, it could be any oil like that. You're not going to be swallowing it, but you put it in your mouth. So you take a mouthful and you swish it about. So for about a minute or so, you just continue to swish it, and you spit it out after a while. Okay, so as much as you can handle, you can continue to swish it and then spit it out. The other one is for the throat, particularly because I teach a lot and I'm traveling a lot, I'm speaking constantly. Also, COVID is an upper respiratory situation. This immunity situation is the upper respiratory. It affects the lungs and the upper chest area. So the most crucial element is also then, so the technique number 1 is to swish it about and then spit it. Technique number 2 is to hold it in your mouth and gargle with it. So it's one mouthful. You take a small tequila glass and you sort of just take in a swig. You gargle it until you are able to remove all the residual stuff in it and the gunk, and then you spit it out. So this will lead to cleansing of the upper respiratory tract, and the mouth, and the voice also is very comfortable. It's very relaxed. It's so it's a really super fun trick to try out. Okay, so please do try this on a daily basis, right? So this is dinacharya, what you do every day. An oil massage or abhyanga is very good. So you can self massage. So take some oil and just rub it on the body. If you find that it is too much for you, then just put some in a head massage and massage through the head or the soles of your feet. Keep it warm oil and put it through in that space. It'll cool you down and it'll help you to sleep better. It allows you to rest much more. Sleeping in the day, in the afternoon nap, this is not really very recommended in Ayurveda. So if you tend to be like an afternoon sleeper, then avoid doing that. Ritucharya is harmony with nature and seasons. So how do you create those changes? How do you allow yourself to move in harmony? So the food that you consume or what you do will also change according to the season. So in the hot summer months, we do not try and continue to eat more heaty stuff. We try and cool. So we could have cucumbers, we could have something that cools you down. The other very important point to note about integrative and holistic practice is that one size doesn't fit all. So there is always something that you need to do for yourself. So keep in mind that two factors that don't change. One is age and the other is genetics. You have what you have, right? So you can't negotiate with that. But the other stuff is what you can really do a lot about. And this is where all these practices that you've been doing through the day come handy. So let's take a look at this Ayurvedic food pyramid. So there are three elements to it. And to reach a sense of well-being, optimal well-being, we look at what is harmful to us, and we don't consume things that are harmful. So practices that are harmful, even the yoga practice. So if you are an asana practitioner, try not to overdo the hurting yourself or going beyond what is comfortable. The very definition of asana in Sanskrit is sthiram sukham asanam. Sthira means stable. Sukha means happy. Sukha literally means happy. So are you happy in your practice? If you're sweating and if you're straining to become strong, that's not the holistic approach to sustainable well-being. So you can get by. Obviously, I'm not saying that we do not need to do just sit around and things will be okay. No, you definitely want to get active. But in that process, try be very mindful, try turning in with love and practice based on wisdom, not on laziness, okay? So tamasic foods and tamasic practices are those which are downright no good for us. And we know it. It's like sitting with a tub of ice cream in front, doing Netflix asana and sort of just going on and on. So we don't need to get there. We all know what our toxic habits are. So really staying away from them as well. Food. Rajasic elements are those that give you energy. So these are typically spices. These are typically things that sort of enhance your power of well-being. And sattvic foods are those which provide holistic, very pure kind of food. So this is the food that is recommended for yogis. Now, again, if you're in a labor-intense work field, if your occupation is to work physically a lot, then you definitely need more elements that will give you the energy to sustain it. If you are just eating berries and think that's going to sustain you to do labor, then that's not going to be a very wise approach. So think carefully and see with what works best for you. So Ayurvedic recommendations are eating mostly fresh foods, things that create good energy, good energy patterns within the body, reduce the sort of very rich foods and avoid tamasic foods which are harmful. Eat balanced food to supplement with vitamins and minerals. Eat local and seasonal. Again, going to that dinacharya and ritucharya. So what is available in your neighborhood? What is available locally for you? Those are the things that are good. So right now, for example, mangoes are in season. So eat them plentifully. Eat them without worrying too much. Don't try to fly in salmon from Alaska or something like this, which takes a lot of load. It burdens our environment, our ecology. So try and be smart about the way you eat. Eat organic, or at least clean your fresh fruits and vegetables. These days in the COVID situation, I would say we have to make a choice because organic foods are more expensive. So try and be smart about it. So there are certain foods that are okay not to have organic, which means, if you're having bananas, you could have them regular bananas. But if you're having things that are very sort of directly put in the mouth, you may wish to have that. Also try hacks like eating things that are more or less, if you have spinach, you cut it, chop it, put it in the freezer. It is frozen spinach, but you put it in yourself and you can have it whenever you want. So, try and think of making it work for you regardless of where you are, in whichever urban situation that you find yourself in. And combine all tastes. So, it's not about saying no to anything. So there is a Sanskrit saying, Ati sarvatra varjayet, which means too much of anything is not good or recommended. So you have everything in moderation and enjoy your life. It's not about saying no and restraining yourself all the time. So immunity boosters. So citrus fruits are very good immunity boosters, garlic, yogurt, probiotics. I'm sure that some of the food people on this panel must have talked about it. If not, creating different kinds of probiotics in the body to make you feel great about yourself. So here's the immune boosting recipe. The one that you see is the golden milk, which includes turmeric. It includes black pepper, which a lot of you identified correctly, and cinnamon. So you add it. If you're lactose intolerant, feel free to put almond milk or any other nut milk that you like. If you're vegan, you can also use vegan other base for it. And then mix it, keep it warm and drink it. This is very good for inflammation. It really is extraordinarily wonderful. And to add a little kick to it, you can add ginger powder, dried ginger powder. It looks a bit like this. So this is dried ginger powder. It's just in a powder form, ginger root in a powdered form. So these are things that will really help you. One more recipe that I absolutely love has been shared by a Australian chef, and I really want to share it because it works superbly for most of my students, and it's a phenomenal one for the family. This year's theme is yoga for family, yoga with family, yoga at home. So I will share a homemade recipe with you. So this has got lime or lemon, the big lemon. It's got honey, it's got ginger, and you ferment the honey. So how do you ferment the honey? You're going to take lime or lemon, you cut it into little pieces like this, and then you go ahead and then put it all in a jar. So you cut it and take a mason jar like this one with a tight lid, and then you add all this stuff. So the ginger, some people would put garlic. I don't quite like the taste, so I don't put garlic. But you can top it up with honey until it can breathe a little bit. And then you cap it and let it be on your kitchen sill. So leave it outside for 3-4 days. In Asia is good enough. If you're in Europe or the US or wherever it may be very cold, then it may take up to a week or more to ferment. But the key is to press down until the vegetables or whatever it is that you are fermenting is underneath. So it's pressed down. And then use that, refrigerate it, and it stays for months. And it's the best thing to have when you're not feeling good, when something's sort of, you're feeling a bit unwell. It's a phenomenal one. So in short, staying healthy is very important. Like I said, take active short breaks. So through the day, find yourself doing things, creating a lot more of, you can take online classes, you can do regular classes, find ways to look at intensity and duration. So now that the circuit breaker in Singapore is off, obviously you can go out and do classes and, start working with your favorite teachers. If not, continue to look for options that you can do safely at home. Intensity is how much you practice and how many times you practice. Create a meditative practice at home. So let's go ahead and try to just sit down with your back straight, shoulder blades open, roll back your shoulders, and close your eyes. So have a sense that you're sitting comfortably and let your eyes just simply close. Take a long, deep breath in through the nose and exhale gently through the nose. Return to the awareness of the body. And with your eyes closed, just swallow. As you swallow, you will find this awareness moving down to the pit of the belly. And then go ahead and get a sense of just a relaxed ease. Become familiar as if you had never observed your breath before. Just go home, as it were. One breath after another, one moment after another. Stay here, nothing to do, nowhere to go. And then gently become aware of the body once again. Lift the sides of your lips, relax the back of your eyes. and then slowly open your eyes. So you see, even in less than a minute, you'll find that it changes the entire inner space and the outer space as well. So it is an enormous gift to yourself in the middle of the day to create, or even in the beginning or the end of the day. Learn new things and connect with others. So really creating those routines that will find you in a happy space here. So finding your joy. So think positive is a very important aspect. We tend to be criticizing ourselves often. So we are our own sort of strongest critics. So I'd encourage you to be your own best friend and think positively. Create time of mental hygiene breaks, like the one that we just did. It takes less than a minute, but it will recalibrate and bring you back to yourself. Connect with people around you. Really, it's, don't cut away from people. It's important to just stay within, but with others. So include others in your journey of joyful happiness. Remember your own goodness and purpose in life. So don't lose that focus. Stay positive, stay occupied, really adapting to the new things. Know that emotions have motion, they pass. So they may be a bad day, they may be a good day, but you will find that mental resilience is something that will endure. You will find great happiness in that space. You will be able to proceed with joyful awareness, right? So this, I hope that this has helped you somewhat. We have upcoming webinars that are tomorrow and today both. So one on wellness seminar, holistic wellness, is coming up in an hour and a half now from 5 p.m. in Singapore. I hope that you can join us. We have 5 experts from around the world. This is going to be a practical session with techniques. So feel free to join in and take a snapshot with your screen saver or a phone to get the link. And also tomorrow, the High Commissioner of Singapore will join us, as well as the Director of the National Institute of Yoga in Delhi. So I hope that you will find time for these webinars. Thank you very much for your time and for stay connected. So, if you wish to know more or deal with practices, I think I can take 1 or 2 questions, perhaps, if there are any. I will share these resources with you. So all the resources that I have used today, I'm going to share those with you. So I will send them out, and you will find that you can connect, use these habits to integrate find yourself using some of these techniques and stay happy and stay healthy. Thank you very much. Namaste. Thank you, Aruna. It was great to see you and everyone else. Namaste.
Tata, I think there's some questions for you. Let me just look in the chat room.
Sure.
Thank you so much. It's so holistic, as you rightly put the topic. So there is someone who wants to know, Jackie wants to know what kind of yogurt is a better option. We'll just go back to the recipe that you were talking about.
Let me address the yoga practice as well as the recipe. The recipe I will send out to all of you, so no need to worry about it. Fermenting honey, I'll tell you how much to put, and it's really a super one. So you can call it Sujata's immunity booster and keep it and share it with your families. What kind of yoga practice should you do? You should find a practice that suits you well. So if you are a person that's a very hyper alpha A kind of a person, then do yin practices that will cool you down, that will sit you down in one place. It won't sort of fire up that pitta element of feariness and add on to it. So try and balance it such that your practice reflects where you're at. If you're menstruating, let's say, then go easy, do inversions, restorative practices. If you are a senior person, you may wish to address joint health or tissue health. If you are a person who is having an 8 hours of sitting job, then Ashtanga Vinyasa practice where you're moving. constantly moving. Those are the kind of things that will help you. Yes, you can use a tongue cleaner, a toothbrush for cleaning your tongue. Yes, scraping it, definitely very, very useful. Yes, so yeah, lying down is okay. Ayurveda says, I'm just addressing the questions that I'm seeing here. Ayurveda does not recommend sleeping, but lying down is okay. So you can just lie down and take a 20-minute just time out, but not falling asleep like that. What kind of yogurt is better option? Homemade yogurt is very good. If you need a starter and you are in Singapore, reach out. I'll be happy to send it to you. Okay, yeah, so probiotics are good. So if you are from Korean origin, you can use kimchi. If you wish, you can use other things. So really creating those things that are good for you. Don't keep taking the same ones. So buttermilk, kefir, any yogurt that has active lactobacillus. So those are the active ones. Kefir also is a big one. So these are all good. In Ayurveda, is there an option of sleeping in and rising times? Yes, there is. So if you wake up early morning, it's supposed to be the best sort of time. It's called the Brahma Muhurtam, or the time of the divine. So you wake up in the morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. kind of thing. You get your asana practice done, you get your massage done, you get all of that done. So by the time the rest of the world wakes up, you've already done your self-care routine. For most of us in urban cities, this may not be possible. So try and be smart and wise about it, obviously. So don't beat yourself up now. If you're watching Netflix until 2 a.m., there's no way you can wake up at 4. So then try to sleep a little early and make a little affirmation. So this is my last sort of takeaway tip for you. When you lie down, just before sleeping, create an intention, an affirmation for yourself. And just say it positively, like, I want to wake up, or I will wake up at this time. And you'll find like a miracle, you will wake up that time in the morning. And you'll see that it really is a very powerful one. Through the day, use yoga nidra techniques or deep relaxation techniques. Try to keep learning constantly, things that will help you to enhance your growth, to be happy. So this is really the key. So I want to leave you with just this one statement. You know, if life gives you a lemon, they say you make lemonade, right? That's the one that we all know. But you know, in this COVID situation, as well as, you know, it's a double whammy. There's a lot going on. We are all really tense and scared, and fear is normal. So if you have, you know, if life gives you lemons, you can make anything out of it. You can make lemon pie, you can make lime juice, you can make the immunity booster that I shared with you. So really, you know, be creative and use your situation, whatever it is that you have, in order to be more healthy, more happy for yourself and others around you as well. And, you know, think of yourself as, you know, that little story about a sea star, right? There are person who are putting jellyfish from the shore back into the sea, and someone comes and asks him, why are you doing this? Why, you know, it matters nothing. So he says, it does matter to the one fish that I'm putting back, right? So the sea star that I'm putting back. So be the star that you are, shine bright, and thank you all for your time, and thank you for this immensely. Namaste.